Hey friends, I'm back home. I made it. It was a whirlwind trip. I was in San Francisco for 3 days, three basically full days, 2 nights. Um, and something that I realized, I spoke about this on my post yesterday, but something that I realized is that the opportunity to be present with the departure of a human being is a real privilege. It's something that we don't think of it as. Usually we tend to think about um, funerals, memorials, celebration of life events. Um, I mean, I think there's a movement now and a kind of general consciousness around celebrating someone's life more than grieving the loss of their life. And I think that's by and large a very positive trend. Of course, there's always grief in letting someone go, um, but the opportunity to attend this event in particular, it's someone who's been so important to me for my whole life, and I was looking at the photos and being pulled back in time. It was truly like going back in time. And it was kind of remarkable what happened to me by being there, by being part of that. My mom said something, I think it was this morning, about you never she was quoting a friend of hers who says, "You never regret going. You only regret not going." Now, that doesn't apply to parties or movies or friends' theater pieces, but it applies to events like this. It applies to graduations, memorials, threshold moments. And I know also that for me, writing the song for the memorial, which I am going to share, but not today. It's too late and I'm too tired. But writing that song was was part of my processing the event of 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 Alan's death. I had all kinds of emotional highs and lows throughout the process, and I had really kind of my heart kept kind of getting, it would like ring like a gong when I would find a certain phrase, or when a picture, a verse would come together or something. And it was pretty profound. I've never done this before. I've never written a song as a memorial to someone in this way. And I realized somewhere during the event itself, I realized how present felt, how he almost tangible he felt in the memories and the speeches and the readings and the musical offerings. He just felt like he was there. And I kept having the thought that he would have really enjoyed what we were all experiencing and witnessing. And as I said yesterday, really sort of consciously participating in someone's departure there's a privilege there in that we get at least for a brief period of time, we get a snapshot of what an entire life looks like when it's compressed down to its most essential, most meaningful elements, the impact it has had on other people. It's a remarkable thing. And in some ways, the speed of this trip, the sort of velocity of the time, made it feel like traveling to another dimension or something. It was like stepping into a dimension where it was full time about this transition, this threshold, and then stepping back out again. I'm back home, just like that. Direct flight. Get on, get off. And it was like, and it was, it all the elements of this trip have kind of combined to make it feel like I stepped into a world for a period of time. I stepped into a dimension for a period of time. And I got to reflect on what it means to let someone go. I got to reflect on my own life. I got to reflect on where I am in my own life. There's a dimension that I'm learning to connect with, and it started happening when I felt my injuries having an effect on my body. I've talked about this in many posts, so I'm not going to recap it right now, but sustained some injuries that suddenly let me know that I'm not invulnerable. And what happened was a space opened up that was kind of a space of, initially what it felt like was a space of fear. A fear of dying. But what I have seen since then is that space is not, it's not so simple. It's not just it's not a space of the fear of dying. It's a space that if I enter it and I am preoccupied by a fear of dying, then that's what will dominate that space. But it's also a space where I inherently connect much more deeply with my own essence and what's really important to me. And I can't lie to myself there. I can't be unconscious there. And that's a good thing. In case that's not clear. You know, I can truly be awake, and you know, it does produce a reckoning with some elements, some past choices, some present things and issues, but it also produces an opening, a kind of revelation of what I'm really about, what my life is really about, what I really care about. You know, when you enter a space where you can really see what you care about, a lot of times that's the fear that comes up, is somehow you know, acknowledging that, acknowledging the reality of that, and truly receiving that. So, man, more of that earlier rather than later, please. It might be intense, might not always be pleasant if I'm in resistance, but wow, would I rather live there? Would I rather be in that level of vibration and awareness than somehow muted? So that's where I am today, folks. I'm gonna get some sleep, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you soon.